you know, as a practitioner of internal martial arts, I'm constantly hearing criticism. Interestingly enough, it's usually coming from the MMA and jiu-jitsu guys, sport oriented guys that, you know, hey, that stuff doesn't work in reality. I don't understand why you guys do that stuff. You're wasting your time. Everybody knows that in reality that stuff doesn't work. Why do you waste your time? From the jiu-jitsu guy will always say, listen, you don't need to do all of that. What you need to do is put the guy on the ground and put him in a rear naked choke, as if to say that every time in every combat situation I'm going to be able to put a guy on the ground and put him in a rear naked choke. It's very, very foolish to think that you're going to be able to do that every time against every opponent. One of the areas of criticisms that we often hear about is, you know, board breaking, brick breaking, block breaking. Hey, that's stupid. Everybody knows that boards don't hit back. Of course, whenever I hear somebody say that, I realize, hey, you know, that's cool. I watched those 80s martial art movies too. They were a lot of fun. You've totally missed the point, though, of what's happening. The idea is, if you have let's take a karate practitioner. If you have a karate practitioner that can burst through blocks with his hands, the idea is he's probably going to be able to break bones. I'm thinking of Master Dao for one guy. He's a Shaolin Kung Fu practitioner, also in the Chinese army. He's got some videos out there if you want to look him up, who can do some amazing things with a heavily conditioned hand. Some of the problems with this kind of thing, though, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not criticizing. If it's what you're going to do, is fine. Is most of them show that the arm has to be completely locked out, and most breaking occurs as a downward, striking downward. I've done those breaks too. It's a good practice. It's a good starting place. What about internal martial arts? Well, the breaking is a little bit different. It's the difference between a fist and an open palm, and this is another one of those debates that people say, well, everybody knows that a fist hurts more than a palm. The other side of the debate is, well, never use your fist, always use your palm. Well, both of those are just absolutely wrong. There's application for fist and there's application for palm. It depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. Let me just kind of give you a really good little illustration. Just take your fist and kind of like bounce it off your forehead. Just enough, you can hear that, I hope. Just enough to kind of like feel the pain of that. And it hurts, like right here. You can feel it right here. Now take the open palm and do the exact same thing with the exact same amount of force. Notice what happens. It doesn't hurt so much here. It hurts back here in the back. It's a concussive force that travels through the skull and bounces off the back of the skull. That's the point of the open palm. What the open palm does is put a concussive force into the body. So if you're doing internal damage, the difference between doing an external damage. I think I can think of an old Bruce Lee quote. You know, it's like an iron ball on an iron chain. The karate is like an iron bar. It goes whack. The iron ball goes whang. And the point is that it produces a concussive effect inside the body. If you wanted to look at some of the knockouts and internal damage videos, I'll have some of those up later, available for students. It won't be public. But what I'd like to do now is just kind of give you some practical applications of the breaking. What does that do for us? What are we getting out of that? Are we getting anything out of that at all? The first thing you do is get yourself a rebreakable board. I don't like this one, I'm going to be honest with you. It's too long, and when it's long, it kind of tends to bend, and that makes it hard to break, especially an unsupported break. It is a solid board, so there's no trickery here. And what we want to do is be able not only to just simply break the board, but we want to be able to generate enough force to do so at a close distance, so that if I was in a combat range, yeah, I could use my fist, but what if I were in a closer distance? Or what if I wanted to do internal damage? So I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit here so you can get a better shot of this. And I don't want to stop the video. I want to keep this video rolling. So I'm going to step back so you can kind of get an idea of this. This is that idea of an internal palm. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold the board across the back, unsupported at the top, which makes it extremely hard to break because now the board can do this. So what I have to do is I have to hit the board with enough force to be able to break the board in the center before the board moves. That's one of the ways of training this internal iron palm method. Not that we're now. There's nothing wrong with putting it down on the ground and slamming it like that or hitting it like that. But in a combat situation, we're going to be striking like this. So we want to be able to break like that. If you notice what happened, the board just kind of explodes off. It's a very short range. I'm not drawing back, I'm not winding up. I'm simply generating enough Fa-Jing. Now you guys who are critical of internal martial arts, you're not going to like that term, and I'm almost tempted not to explain it to you, just to kind of give you a hard time. I want to express enough explosive energy in a very short distance to create that internal damage effect. So I'll attempt to do it again for you. Now notice, it's a short distance here, okay? I'm not winding up, I'm not pulling back here. It's a very short distance that I'm using here. All right, internal iron palm, open palm strikes. God bless.